Okay, today we're going to demonstrate for you a MYFORD HPM cylindrical grinder. This machine is made in England. This is a fully automatic grinder, meaning that it has an automatic cycle with a fine and a coarse feed, with a retracting approach and retraction of the wheel slide in the beginning of each cycle. And different modes of grinding. There's in-process gauging if you were to equip it with an in-process gauge, or traverse grinding with pick feeding on the left side or the right side, or both sides if you use the selector switches, or a plunge grinding mode. A machine for setup can be put in the hand mode, and basically it's just a little hand feed grinder. You do have a lever here which allows you to bring your wheel in and out. So you would use that. The headstock here is currently set up for between center grinding. In other words, we're going to put our part between the two centers, and we're going to have a mechanism here to drive the workpiece with, a drive dog on your workpiece or whatever you're going to use. This is variable speed. This has a reduction sleeve that goes into the standard MYFORD spindle bore, and then inside that sleeve we would insert MYFORD tooling, which in this case is a special center that goes in the shape of a hardage type 4C collet, or a 4C collet. Your tailstock has a number 2 Morse taper, and so you could also set this up to have collets, and you open and close the collet with the manual little drawer tube there that you tighten up. But right now we just want to rotate around that center, so I have this set up as a dead center setup. You could remove all this and you could put a chuck on this or a faceplate on this, and you could rotate the faceplate, or if you're going to use a collet to rotate a part. So you can do that. Capacity of the machine is about 5 inches, a little over 5 inches. And between centers I would have to guess about 12 to 14 inches, but that'll be on our quotation. Grinding wheel is 14 inches with a 5-inch bore, and right now this wheel looks like it has a recess in the back of it, probably about a ½ an inch, and the wheel itself is 1.5 inches wide. So you could judge from that. This is probably the maximum that you could get away with for the width of a wheel on here, maybe a little more. You got your tailstock. It's equipped with the bracket so that this could be used with an optional a swing down ID grinder, which is available from us. If you're interested in that, you might want to speak to the salesperson. Right now the machine can be used manually just by turning your dials and your table by hand. You're bringing in your wheel with this lever here, and you could just grind down to your piece with the hand wheel. You have a positive stop here that'll stop at this point. When you go back, you want to back your part out maybe 1 revolution and measure it, and maybe you find out that you're a couple of thousandths too small. You can make your adjustment right here, 2 thousandths, and then come back in, open this up, and start coming around again. You want to engage your stop pin so that now when you get 2 thousandths away from your 0, you're going to start to spark, and you're going to come up against this dead stop pin here and let it spark out, and then you would back it off maybe 1 turn and then put the whole head out, and over here shut your part off. That would be a manual cycle. A fully automatic cycle would be, let's say, a plunge grinding cycle. Have to make a couple of adjustments on here. This has to go to the top, and this has to go up here. This has to be put here. This black box up on the top here, if you come in a little bit closer, are your pointers. They call them the pointers. The one on the far right, closest to 0, can be adjusted. This is where your coarse feed is going to stop and your fine feed is going to begin. So in a plunge grinding mode, we don't want the table on, so make sure we have that turned off. You have to select the plunge grinding mode, and pressing this lever on the side here will start the cycle. The work head comes on, your coolant would come on, the wheel came in, and now you see your pointer feeding down. And you saw how it came to 0. We'll do that once more so we can catch that. So now we're at 0 and we're just waiting for the spark out light to come on, which it did. That's the end of the cycle and everything backs up. So we'll start another one. We come in with the wheel. I can control the speed of this with this knob on the side here. I can increase and decrease that. When we get to the other pointer, we're going to switch to a fine feed. Right down to 0 where it makes contact with a switch at the end of the stroke of the infeed mechanism and starts your spark out timer, which you can adjust from, it's infinitely variable, up to 30 seconds or 40 seconds or so. So that's a full plunge grinding cycle. If you want to see that from in the distance, you just come in like this. And of course, if your part wasn't the right size, now you would make an adjustment here, because this always does the same thing. You can adjust the amount of stock removal so you don't have to take so much off if you only have a little, by making an adjustment in the rear of the machine. But that will all be covered in the manual. See, the light comes on there for the spark out, and then it kicks out. Now, if we were going to use the longitudinal table, then we go to the next setting, and we probably want to turn our table speed up a little bit. Make sure that's on. And hopefully I'm not going to hit that. Okay, so now if you look in here, you see that this is feeding each time. I could slow this table down. Now the amount that feeds is also adjustable. There's a knob on the side down here that you would rotate in or out to increase or decrease your amount of infeed per reversal. Now if you didn't want to feed on the left side for some reason, you could shut that off. Or if you wanted to feed on the right side or the left side and not the right side, you could shut the right side off. Right now I have both sides on. You could switch the rotation of the workhead. I believe that's if you're doing internal grinding and you wanted to rotate the opposite way. This would start the ID spindle. Your coolant comes on and off with either the grinding wheel or the workhead, however you want to have it. And this starts your hydraulics. Now it also has an automatic lubrication system. And if it ever starts to fail, you'll have the red light come on. So mounted on the side of the machine here is a lubrication pump, a Bijou type lubrication pump that's electric, and every so many minutes it gives a pump of oil to the whole machine. So that's it. That's the MYFORD HPM cylindrical grinder. So thank you very much.